Boxing fans, get ready for some serious drama. Caleb Plant just called out Jermall Charlo, making it clear that he's ready to settle their long-standing beef once and for all. Remember that infamous slap back in 2023? Well, it's been nearly 2 years, and the tension between these two still hasn't faded. Now, Plant is done with the back-and-forth talk and wants to handle business inside the ring. The question is, will Charlo accept the challenge, or is he just all talk? With Charlo being mentioned as a possible opponent for Canelo Alvarez's next fight in May, he has a big decision to make. Will he take the Plant fight and prove he's still a top contender, or will he hold out for a bigger payday with Canelo? One thing's for sure, fans are watching closely, and they want to see action, not excuses. This fight isn't just about personal revenge, it's about proving who truly belongs at the top of the super middleweight division. Caleb Plant is hungry to get back in the title picture after his knockout win last year, and beating Charlo would put him right back in the mix. Meanwhile, Charlo has been inactive, and many are wondering if he still has what it takes to compete at the highest level. If he turns down this fight, it could raise even more doubts about his motivation and whether he's just chasing big paydays instead of real challenges. But if he accepts, fans could be in for an all-out war between two of the sport's most talented and outspoken fighters. So, will we finally get to see these two settle the score? Or will this rivalry remain nothing more than words? Caleb Plant has just thrown down the gauntlet, calling out Jermall Charlo on Instagram and making it clear that he's ready to settle their long-standing feud in the ring. Their beef dates back to July 2023. When the two had a heated altercation that ended with Plant slapping Charlo across the face. That moment went viral, shocking the boxing world and leaving fans wondering if they would ever get the chance to see these two fighters settle their differences inside the ring. Since that incident, tensions between them have continued to simmer, with both men taking shots at each other in interviews and on social media. However, despite all the trash talk and back-and-forth jabs, a fight between them has never materialized. Now, nearly 2 years later, Plant is determined to put an end to all the talk and take care of business once and for all. He wants to lock horns with Charlo and settle things in the only way that truly matters in boxing, inside the squared circle. The question is, will Charlo accept the challenge, or will he continue to avoid stepping into the ring with Plant? Charlo, however, might have other plans on his mind. According to reports from ESPN, he is one of the top names being considered for Canelo Alvarez's next fight on May 4th in Riyadh. If Turki El-Sheikh, the man behind the mega money fights in Saudi Arabia, decides to offer Charlo a massive payday, there's a high chance that Charlo will jump at the opportunity and choose to fight Canelo instead. After all, a fight against the undisputed super middleweight champion would not only bring in millions of dollars but also provide Charlo with a chance to claim one of the biggest wins of his career. However, Canelo has another rumored opponent in mind, an undefeated fighter named Bruno Suarez. If Canelo decides to go with Suarez instead of Charlo, then Charlo will no longer have an excuse to dodge Plant's challenge. At that point, all eyes will be on Charlo to see if he truly wants to settle his beef with Plant, or if he was only talking tough for the cameras. If Charlo does not get the Canelo fight and still refuses to face Plant, it could damage his reputation and make it seem like he is afraid to take on dangerous challenges. Meanwhile, Caleb Plant is not sitting around waiting for Charlo to make a decision. He's hungry for a big fight and is ready to prove himself once again. The former IBF super middleweight champion has not stepped into the ring since his electrifying 9th-round knockout victory over Trevor McCumbee last September. That performance reminded the boxing world just how dangerous Plant can be when he's fully focused and motivated. Before that, he suffered a hard-fought loss to David Benavidez in 2023, but rather than let that defeat break him, he used it as fuel to come back stronger. Now, Plant is looking for another major fight that can put him back in title contention, and Charlo seems like the perfect opponent to test his skills against. In his Instagram post, Plant made it clear that he's tired of all the talking and that it's time for Charlo to back up his words with action. He reminded Charlo that he has mentioned his name multiple times since their altercation and that if he truly wants to settle things, then he needs to step up and accept the fight. However, Plant also made it clear that if Charlo is not interested, then he should stop bringing up his name and move on. Charlo, for his part, has responded to Plant's challenge, but his response has left some fans questioning whether he is truly serious about taking the fight. During a recent Instagram live session, Charlo told his followers that he is open to fighting Plant and even hinted that he would be willing to give the fans what they want. But was this just empty talk, or is he genuinely interested in making the fight happen? With the possibility of the Canelo fight still hanging in the balance, Charlo seems to be in a position where he can either chase the big payday or prove his toughness by facing Plant. If he chooses to fight Plant, it will be a high-stakes battle with personal history, bad blood, and bragging rights all on the line. However, if he chooses to wait for Canelo and that fight falls through, he could end up missing out on both opportunities. One thing is certain: if this fight between Plant and Charlo finally happens, it won't just be a boxing match. It will be a grudge match filled with tension, drama, and fireworks. Fans are eagerly waiting to see whether Charlo steps up or whether Plant will have to find another opponent to continue his journey back to the top. If the fight between Caleb Plant and Jermall Charlo finally happens, it has the potential to be one of the most explosive matchups of the year. Both fighters have elite skills, strong fan followings, and most importantly, a deep personal grudge that has been brewing for nearly 2 years. These kinds of fights, where emotions are running high, often deliver unforgettable moments inside the ring. Plant has always been known for his sharp boxing IQ, quick footwork, and impressive counterpunching abilities. Meanwhile, Charlo possesses knockout power and an aggressive style that could create a high-action fight. If this bout gets made, the boxing world will be treated to a clash of two contrasting styles, making for an unpredictable and thrilling contest. However, the biggest question remains: does Charlo truly want this fight, or is he just using Plant's name to stay relevant while waiting for a bigger opportunity like Canelo? For Plant, a win over Charlo would be a massive statement and could put him right back in line for another world title shot. Since his loss to Canelo Alvarez in 2021, Plant has been working hard to rebuild his career, taking on tough challenges and proving that he is still one of the best super middleweights in the division. His victory over McCumbee last year was a reminder that he still has the skills and power to compete at the highest level. If he can defeat Charlo, it would add another big name to his arsenal and give him the momentum he needs to secure even bigger fights. On the other hand, if he loses, it could push him further away from title contention and raise questions about whether he is still capable of competing with the top fighters in the division. That's why this fight is not just about settling a personal score, it's about career survival and proving who truly belongs at the top. For Charlo, this fight presents a different kind of challenge. He has spent most of his career at middleweight and has only fought once since 2021. Many fans have questioned whether he is still the same fighter he once was, especially after such a long period of inactivity. Taking on Plant would be a major test for him, showing if he still has the hunger, skill, and dedication needed to compete at the elite level. If he manages to defeat Plant, it would silence his critics and make a strong case for him to be considered one of the top contenders at super middleweight. However, if he loses, it could damage his reputation even further and make it even harder for him to land the big money fights he's looking for. Charlo needs this fight just as much as Plant does, which is why it makes perfect sense for them to finally settle their differences in the ring. Ultimately, whether this fight happens or not will come down to Charlo's decision. If he truly wants to fight Plant, he will make it happen. But if he continues to hesitate or hold out for the Canelo fight, Plant may have no choice but to move on and find another opponent. Regardless of what happens, one thing is clear: boxing fans are tired of the talk and want to see action. If Charlo and Plant finally face off, it will be a fight filled with drama, intensity, and fireworks. But if Charlo backs out, it could confirm what many fans already believe, that he is avoiding tough challenges and only chasing big paydays. The ball is now in Charlo's court. Will he step up and take the fight, or will he let this opportunity slip away?